The Gears of War series is one of the crowning achievements of the Xbox. Since the original game, which won over 30 Game of the Year awards, the franchise has rarely dipped in quality. Yet the series we know today has gone through numerous changes over the years. The original started as another Unreal installment called Unreal Warfare, for instance, set in the Unreal universe as a massive multiplayer game. But after the developers returned to the project years later, it morphed into the title we know and love today. That's just one way this franchise could have been different. So let's take a look at the hidden secrets upon the planet Serra, along with all the intriguing details of Gears of War's storied development history. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are 20 things you didn't know about Gears of War. Number 20. The demo doubled the Xbox 360's memory. Gears of War as a series has impacted much of the gaming industry. Still, you might not know that its existence paved the way for a mammoth upgrade of the Xbox 360 before launch. At the 2005 Game Developers Conference, Epic Games presented a demo of the then untitled Gears of War running on the Unreal Engine 3. Impressed by the realism, textures, and stunning graphics, Xbox Games' founder Tim Sweeney pushed for the unreleased Xbox 360 to double its memory from 256MB to 512MB. In response, Microsoft undertook the task. Implementing the extra RAM came with colossal side effects though. Microsoft spent millions of dollars to develop the console, which also limited the amount of Xbox 360s upon release. On the upside, this change did allow future Xbox 360 titles to run in HD, with Gears of War being one of the first games released using the Unreal Engine 3. Number 19. Dom's SMOKY surname. The two main protagonists of the series are, of course, Marcus Fenix and Dominic Santiago, the latter being the main secondary playable character in the first 3 Gears campaign modes. However, Dominic Santiago was not the name initially pitched. Initially, Dominic Glynn was the first name suggested until Rod Ferguson noticed a cigar box on lead developer Cliff Bleszinski's desk with the inscribed name Santiago. Number 18. Marcus's fiery surname. Marcus Fenix is the main protagonist of the first 3 games. A gruff, disgraced soldier, he's brought back into the battle from prison to hack his way through the LOCUST horde in the name of the Cog. And like his teammate Dom, there's a story behind his surname too, albeit a bit more troubled. During development, Cliff Bleszinski was going through a bit of a rough spot. Losing everything from the divorce of his first marriage, he dubbed Marcus's surname as Phoenix in reference to the mythological creature, the Phoenix. In a deleted 2015 tweet, he claimed that he was, quote, rising from my own ashes with Gears of War. In addition, the song that he listened to the most while getting over the divorce was Gary Jules' Mad World, which Epic Games also used in the chilling Xbox 360 trailer for the game. According to Bleszinski, much of Gears of War's inspiration was due to his marriage's failure and a trip to London. I guess that latter element explains why everything's so grey. Number 17. The Lancer almost got cut. If there's one weapon that's almost synonymous with the Gears franchise, it has to be the chainsaw sporting machine gun, the Lancer. Players close enough to an enemy can use this bloody weapon to slice apart their opponent in one swing, or even lock into a dueling chainsaw battle. Bleszinski confessed on the Gears of War 2 limited edition bonus disc that he had the idea for the chainsaw gun ever since he was a child. I mean, what child hasn't? Yet this feature caused major debate during development. Former Xbox boss Peter Moore wanted the Lancer removed from the E3 demo, probably due to its graphic nature, but Epic Games stayed firm and kept the Lancer in. It was later revealed though that Bill Gates enjoyed its inclusion, saying, "I love that chainsaw." Same Bill, same. Number 16. Dave Bautista really wants to play Marcus Fenix. A Gears of War film has been teased ever since New Line Cinema announced it purchased the film rights back in 2007. Sporadic updates have hinted at what could be, from a story about Phoenix's scar to a narrative completely separate from the video game franchise. One celebrity who's been extremely interested in the role of Marcus Fenix though is former WWE wrestler cum actor Dave Bautista. And you know what? Big Dave feels like the perfect choice for the role, proving a worthy muscular foe and a damn fine dramatic actor when given the right material. He's been more than vocal about wanting to be included in the film, yet has apparently failed to get Hollywood to listen, tweeting that he's tried everything. Things aren't all bad for Bautista though. I mean, I wish I was him, as he became a playable character in the multiplayer for Gears 5. Number 15. Marcus's scar origin. One of the defining features of Marcus is the facial scar that runs down his right cheek. Cycling through the plethora of nasty creatures in the Gears universe, you might have guessed that Marcus got entangled with a sharp-clawed wretch, or got sliced by shrapnel in an explosion or something. However, the answer actually lies in the novel Gears of War: The Slab, written by Gears of War 3's lead writer, Karen Travis. One of the book's antagonists is a prison officer named Campbell. Harboring an extreme hatred for Marcus after the death of his son, he decides to lock him in a room with a pair of rabid dogs. Of course, the battle-hardened Marcus proceeds to fight off the crazy canines barehanded because he's a big bad bastard, but not before one decides to make a quick snack out of his face. Number 14. Ice-T leaked his Gears of War 3 involvement. Ice-T is no stranger to voice work, lending his voice as Mad Dog in GTA San Andreas, himself in Def Jam Fight for New York, and an alien version of himself in Rick and Morty. However, Ice-T was well known as a Gears of War fan back in the day, and wound up asking Cliff Bleszinski directly for a part. His wish came true in the end, but not before he accidentally leaked his casting while answering questions in a stream, before quickly adding, "I didn't just say that." If you never realised the rapper voiced the stranded leader in Gears 3 though, there are a few clues hidden in Aaron Griffin's design. The broken clock around his neck is stuck at 6 AM, a reference to his song 6 in the Morning, and Griffin also sports a gold knuckle duster reading Drama, referring to the song of the same name as well. Number 13. Gears 5's Ghostly Reunion. The Gears franchise is no stranger to Easter eggs. From massive golden chickens to cowboy hat-wearing corpses, the series is filled to the brim with silly hidden secrets, and characters even comment on them as they go by. A staple feature in the Gears games as well are also the collectibles the player picks up on their adventure. In Gears 5, some collectibles relate to deceased characters from previous installments as well. Some examples include Chairman Prescott's watch on a desk and the 2 helmets of the dead Carmine brothers. Placing these collectibles near a war memorial emits ghostly whispers of the dead characters' dialogue lines as well, and setting them all down conjures the ghostly images of the deceased. Number 12. Carmine Life Insurance and REDSHIRTS. Speaking of deaths, most will likely know about the unfortunate fate of the Carmine family. A Carmine family member has died in pretty much almost every installment, with the trope becoming a bit of an in-joke. Some smart players may notice though that Carmine is actually a shade of red, nodding to the red shirt wearing Star Trek crew members known for frequently kicking the bucket. While no Carmine family members appeared in Gears of War Judgment, keen-eyed players may notice a shop sign titled Carmine Family Life Insurance, protecting the ones you love, because boy, do they need it. Number 11. Fans voted for Clayton Carmine's fate. So you might be asking, if the Carmine family is such a running joke and they're all supposed to die, why didn't Clayton bite the dust like his siblings? If you remember, at the end of Gears of War 3, Clayton assists Delta Squad in defeating Queen Mira by chopper, but her Tempest shoots the King Raven down. It is revealed though that he survives. And this is because Epic Games launched the Fate of Carmine campaign, where players could either buy a Save Carmine or Carmine Must Die shirt on the Xbox Avatar Marketplace to decide his fate. In doing so, they raised $150,000 for Child's Play charity in the process. Number 10. Dominic or Dominique. The development of Gears of War was ever evolving. Still, one of the most notable concepts that could have changed is Dom becoming Dominique. Ferguson suggested the idea to Cliff early in development that Gears of War could give players the choice between having a male or female Santiago. The team scrapped the decision eventually, however, when considering the technical hurdle writing double dialogue would be. Dom wasn't the only person who was originally going to have a gender swap though. Former Delta Squad leader Min Young Kim was written initially as a female character. Sadly, in the end, it wouldn't be until the third game where players could play as female characters like Anya Stroud or Samantha Byrne. Number 9. New players dominate in Gears of War 3's online matches. Gears of War 3 put a lot of effort into its multiplayer, with new additional modes, dedicated servers, and a focus on executing grisly executions. Yet one thing that wasn't immediately noticeable to online players was that new players had the edge in battle. Cliff Bleszinski revealed in an IGN interview that if a player had no achievements in the previous 2 games, they will have more health and damage on their first few Gears of War 3 multiplayer kills. These buffs help new players get used to Gears' multiplayer, rather than becoming frustrated with veteran players absolutely annihilating them. Number 8. The LOCUST HORDE was inspired by Lord of the Rings. The main antagonists in Gears of War are the LOCUST, who sprang out of the ground 14 years before the start of the game in Emergence Day, killing a quarter of the world population in the first 26 hours. They're a formidable foe, and Cliff had a clear idea of how he wanted the LOCUST to act. Cliff was very clear that he wanted the LOCUST to have a Tolkien-esque quality to them, stating, quote, "We wanted the LOCUST to be intelligent savages. They're like the Uruk-hai in Lord of the Rings, only with guns. The Uruk-hai would organize themselves, line up, and then storm in, even though they look like horrible monsters. That's what the LOCUST essentially are. Bipedal, thick-skinned, but also smart enough to build and use their own weaponry. They use tactics, they're not just running at you mindlessly," end quote. Number 7. Gears of War 3's writer never played the games. To keep Sarah's lore coherent, Epic Games have enlisted lots of writing talent to help the series stay as sensical as an apocalyptic monster invasion can be, including writer Karen Travis. A novelist for Star Wars and the Halo series, Travis wrote Gears of War Asphalt Fields in 2008 after the Gears of War trailer inspired her. However, what's so interesting about the author's work is how she approaches her stories. In an interview, she revealed that she's never actually played the game, saying, quote, "If I play the game, then I start to write as if I'm constructing it again," end quote. Instead, she would watch the cinematics and view the concept art of Sarah's world to inspire her stories. And after writing 4 Gears novels and writing for the comic series, Travis was brought on as lead writer for Gears of War 3. She's had a significant impact on the Gears universe as a result. For example, she saved Colonel Hoffman from death in Gears of War 3, explaining that his historical importance was essential as one of the only reliable accounts of life before Emergence Day. Number 6. SPEIGHT got his voice role from a Super Bowl advert. Lester Speight was a former American football player who moved on to acting after an ill-fated signing in the bust USFL. In 2003, he landed a role in a Super Bowl Reebok commercial playing a footballer named Terry Tate, tackling office workers to enforce office policies. You might not remember this, but you might actually recognize him from a viral hit where he tackled Donald Trump during the 2016 presidential race. It turns out that this OTT persona is exactly why Epic Games cast Lester Speight in the first place though, with Cliff saying, quote, "We were like, I'd go to war with that guy." Epic Games initially slated Cole as a red shirt to be killed off, but the developers promoted Cole to one of the main characters after this casting. Number 5. Anya and Marcus's relationship started way before the games. As with most characters in this series, Anya has a deep backstory both inside and outside of the games. Cliff confirmed on Twitter that he based Anya on someone who broke his heart in the past. However, her development in Gears of War 3 made her a character more in line with Cliff's wife, Lauren. Another thing that may surprise players though is Anya and Marcus were actually already romantically involved before the games began. The Slab novel details how Anya used to send Marcus love letters which were destroyed by the hateful prison officer Campbell. Anya passes away before Gears of War 4, but fans got a glimpse of some happier moments the couple shared in the trailer. Number 4. Gears character crossovers. It's not uncommon for the Gears to go on a few excursions outside of their homeworld of Serra, like when the Armadillo transport turned up to score goals in Rocket League, and the characters are no different. General Ram, for instance, became a DLC character for Killer Instinct 2, with some devastating knife attacks and his own remix of Gears of War's main theme. The iconic duo Marcus and Dom have also travelled from Serra, appearing in Lost Planet 2. Blazinski and Capcom director/producer Jun Takeuchi first met at E3 back in 2006, where they discussed Resident Evil 4's behind-the-shoulder camera style. Eventually, this led to a crossover, and while there isn't a story element to Marcus and Dom's inclusion in Lost Planet, Takeuchi theorized that humans from Lost Planet could always migrate to other planets in the future. Number 3. Gears Tactics started as a board game. The new Gears Tactics title takes the series away from its standard third-person shooter format, instead playing as an XCOM-esque strategy game, controlling your own Gears squad in turn-based combat. To brainstorm this game, the developers first decided to put Gears Tactics into paper form though. Back in 2017, Associate Creative Director Steve Venezia was using the Office printer to create a tabletop experience for Gears of War. Utilizing one large map and miniatures from an old copy of the Gears of War board game, Venezia and publishing design lead Tyler Bielman devised how Gears Tactics would appear and run for players. And they did this because they didn't want the game to feel like a rip-off of other strategy video games already on the market. Number 2. Ram was named after a local Indian restaurant owner. Of all the terrifying creatures Delta Squad face in their missions, General Ram is high up there with the cruelest of enemies. A towering brute with a nasty serrated blade and control of the flesh-eating krill, this main antagonist in the original Gears of War is a force to be reckoned with. And again, he's another character with a pretty crazy development history. That's because Ram was actually a late addition to the game due to time constraints and had to be rebuilt entirely for Gears of War Ultimate Edition. While his name feels like the perfect opportunity for an Xbox double memory pun, the moniker actually refers to the owner of an Indian restaurant where Epic Games members ate. They threw it in as an ode to him. Number 1. Gears of War Redefined Uncharted. Gears of War borrowed a lot of its creation from games like Resident Evil 4, Killswitch, and even The Legend of Zelda. Yet, it has also inspired some of the big titles in the industry, most prominently Uncharted. That's because Naughty Dog was still working on Uncharted just as Gears of War released in 2006. The team had a tough time understanding how they wanted the camera and movement mechanics to work, but after experiencing Gears of War firsthand, the team realized that Gears had achieved what they were looking for. Getting to work with only 6 months before release, Naughty Dog developers completely revamped their combat system to be more in line with Gears of War's playstyle. Originally, Uncharted was going to have auto-aim controls more akin to Tomb Raider. Fortunately, the Uncharted series has solidified itself as a high-standard action-adventure franchise in its own right, and part of that is thanks to Gears. So that's our list. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. How many of these facts did you already know, and are there any good ones that I missed off here? Either way, while you're down there, could you give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over to WhatCulture.com for more lists and news like this every single day. Even if you don't know, I've been Josh, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.